Thank you guys for coming to this video to understand these three types of data: unstructured, semi-structured, and structured. uh, I will again use very kind of a layman style to kind of explain this so that we can remember it and use it and explain it to somebody. So for example, if somebody is writing in German language, but I don't know how to read German language, can I say that he doesn't know how to write? I cannot. That is how we call some data as unstructured data, because we are not able to interpret it. Data has got some structure. All the data has got some structure because they are generated by some system. So there won't be anything without a structure. There is a structure. It is just that we are not able to interpret it with the technology we have today. So for example, if I start chatting with you and then after 1 hour I save all the chat in a text file, data is there but we cannot interpret it properly or analyze it properly. So those are called unstructured data. In those data sets we can only search, we can only count, we cannot do anything else. Now comes semi-structured. Semi-structured is something where the same part of the data is following like same file in the data in the same file is one only having some data. So data in that file is following different structure. So maybe one row will have 2 columns, second row will have 10 columns, third row will have 6 columns. So they are not following or adhering to a single structure. Those are called semi-structured. So what is the difference between a non-structured and semi-structured? Because it looks like same, but in the difference is in semi-structured you would at least know what a particular data element represent. If it is a product name, or if it is a price, or if it is a year, or if it is a date. So the row number 1 might say year equal to or colon 2020, and a second row in the same place might say name equal to somebody. So those two rows are not following the same structure, but at least they are telling me what they contain. That is called semi-structured. So all the NoSQL databases are semi-structured databases. And why, when we say NoSQL, it actually means no structure. It is semi-structured. No structure means it is not following or adhering to a single structure. It is having multiple kind of structure in the same file. That is why we call it a NoSQL databases. I do not agree with the name, but let us say that it is a NoSQL database. This is how we created NoSQL databases. And now comes to structure. The structure is where all the rows in a file or in a collection or in a data set are following the same structure, and each position represents the same thing, same dimension. So if my first column is the product name, then my first column across the file will be product name. If my second column is the price, my across that file my second column will be the file. That won't be case with the same structure, and the unstructured will not tell you what you are reading. So this is how we can differentiate unstructured. If actually there's nothing in the word which is unstructured, I am again saying the same thing. This is, we are not able to interpret it. That is why we call it unstructured, because it never says what we are reading, where we are. Semi-structured says what you are reading, and structured will say what you are reading and what is the structure. So that is the difference between these three. And the people who come from the traditional background, they sometimes understand the same structure, uh, but they are not able to sometimes understand how do we use it. Because anything, if I'm firing a query, like for example, a product name equal to XYZ, and maybe the first row contains product name, but second row doesn't contain product name. So how is it going to happen? So that is where the new tools which are there in big data world, they are compatible to handle this kind of data sets. Whether it's a table where you can read it like you are reading Oracle table, or maybe you are using PySpark or Spark, you can fill the data with in the data frame, and it will kind of the Spark will kind of try to read the structure from the same structured data, whatever it is, but it will not fail. It will allow you to read and execute queries. So whenever somebody is telling unstructured, it means the file is not telling what it stores and how to read it. Semi structure tells how what it is reading, and structured means it will tell you what is the structure and how to read it. Thanks for joining.